Hey, Black Belt reads. So for April, my challenge to myself was to only read books that I've read before. So these are all rereads. Month's not quite over, but I had a little time here. It's been hard for me to find time to make the videos lately because I just had a new baby, so bear with me. I have gotten a little bit of reading done, maybe not as much as normal, but all rereads. So, rereading, something a lot of people don't talk about. Maybe a lot of people don't reread their books. I love rereading. When you've read something and then you go back years later, hell, sometimes weeks later. I've done that before. But you forget pieces of the plot, you forget small little details, and then when you reread it, it's like it's new again. So I love rereading. There's some books I've had probably 6 times I've reread. Like H.G. Wells' The Time Machine, very short book. I probably read that like 10 times in my life because it's my favorite sci-fi book. Anyway, the first reread I have is, there's a reason behind all these. Fight Club by Chuck Palahniuk, I think is how you pronounce it. I have never read any Chuck Palahniuk except for Fight Club, and it's his first book. So I'm like, man, I really need to read some more of his books. So I picked up his first 5 published novels, and I want to do a Chuck Palahniuk read through. But I figured I'll just reread Fight Club. It's short. Haven't seen the movie or read the book in ages, so it was perfect. From what I remember, I mean, the movie is very, very faithful to this. There's even direct lines taken, which I like. I really enjoyed the book. Again, it's been a long time since I've read it. I know it may be a little, controversial or whatever, like just male testosterone fueled. I didn't really think of it that way. The point of the Fight Club, it's not just to get in fights, it's to test yourself, to push yourself to a place where you would normally never find yourself, which is, I mean, that's a big reason why people like me do martial arts. There's a point in this novel where he says the feeling after Fight Club, when you've been in a fight, nothing else matters. You're just driving home, no radio on, nothing, just your own thoughts, just cleared away, just like a blank canvas, just driving almost in a trance. And that was beautifully put. That's exactly what it's like whenever you do an extremely hard martial art session. I mean, I train like 3 to 5 times a week. And sometimes I train so incredibly hard, I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm just driving home, and then that sense of just calm takes over everything. That's the reason why I do this. It's like a way to get your outlet that most normal people don't have. So, really enjoyed the book, the themes of the book. The way he writes is very interesting. It's almost like a robot wrote it. Counting one, counting two, counting three. It's like almost like a robotic way of him writing. It kind of puts you in a little bit of a trance as well. Uh, I'm very curious to see what the rest of his books are like, if they're written the same way. I know that some people love this author, but I don't hear anybody really talk about him anymore. I mean, this is from the 90s. So, yeah, very interested. I think the next book from him is called Survivor. So I'll be reading that probably next month. All right, jumping right into the next one. Just like I want to read Chuck's books, I have been reading all of the Cormac McCarthy books in publication order, and I've read everything up until The Passenger. My favorite being Suttree. It's my favorite book from him. It became pretty much my favorite book ever. So much so that I reread it immediately, which I never do. I read it, and then a few months later, I read it again. And I wanted to reread another McCarthy book, and I figured I would do Blood Meridian because I feel like the first time I read this, a lot sort of escaped me. I was a little confused. I didn't enjoy it as much as maybe I thought I would because this seems to be everyone's favorite McCarthy book. So after I read it, I kind of sat with it a while and it just really stuck with me. I watched some videos, I read some essays about it, and started to develop a more understanding of the novel, the themes, what he was going for. And I thought, I gotta reread it again. It's not that long, it's like 300 pages. So I picked it up and read it again. I thought this would be perfect for my reread challenge. And I gotta say, I got so much more out of it the second time. Man, the writing in here is phenomenal. There are just so many instances where I would read a sentence and just put the book down and just go, what the hell, man? How do you how do you even wrap your mind around that? It's just the way he makes the sentence is so unique, so beautiful. Such a horrifying book, but written beautifully. I mean, I love that. The book was, the first time I read it, I think I just kind of blazed through it. This time I tried to slow down. The book has got some absolutely horrifying moments. It definitely made me feel gross, uncomfortable, but I appreciate, the reality of it. These things really did happen. These things really do happen. It's, you know, it's about scalp hunters from the 1800s, Americans that were hired to just go kill the Indians. And to get proof, they would scalp them. So they'd pay you whatever per scalp. But these guys are awful, absolutely horrible. They do this to Indians. But then they're like, oh, we'll literally kill the Mexicans too, because no one will know the difference. And the Mexicans were the ones that hired them to do this, because the Indians were pillaging and all destroying them, right? So these Americans come in and scalp the Indians, but then they scalp the Mexicans too and sell their own scalps back to the Mexicans. And these are some of the most awful people. They come into town, everyone's excited to see them. They're like heroes because they've, stopped these Native American savages that were taking over their land. No, by the time they leave, everyone is like hiding in their homes because these guys are just horrible, drunk, rapists. They just shoot people for no reason. They're awful. There's some really horrifying scenes in the book, and I haven't even mentioned Glanton or the judge. Uh, I could talk about this book for a long time. I don't want the video to just be a Blood Meridian video. Maybe I'll do a whole video about my thoughts on this. Because after reading it twice, I have such a deeper understanding, and I really went down the rabbit hole with this book too. So, if you've never read Blood Meridian, just be warned, it's extremely violent, but it's so beautifully written. I feel like everyone should read it. There are some passages in here that are just mind blowing. Like truly, I would just read some of them out loud and just like, man, I wish I could write a sentence the way the way this guy wrote a sentence. Anyway, so now I've reread two Cormac McCarthy books. I really want to get to The Passenger and Stella Mars, the last two books of his that I haven't read before. I think there's also a play from him that I haven't read. Um, anyway, Blood Meridian, Cormac McCarthy. All right, so I wanted to read a graphic novel that I have read before, and I was looking around the shelf, and I always think it's interesting the way books can lead you to things. So there's always a reason why I read something. Uh, it's never really random. I may be like looking around in here and just randomly pick something up and read it, but it's usually because I've been led there by something. So this book, Ice Cream Man, I read all of these in trade paperback when they were coming out. And then they did this deluxe hardcover, and I put it on my wish list. Wasn't top priority by any means, but it went on sale for like 60% off or something silly. So I bought it. It was very cheap. I think it's a $50, $45 book, but it was on sale for like 20 bucks or something, like 15 bucks, something crazy. So I'm like, yeah, of course. So I bought it. And this was a perfect opportunity for me to reread something, but also I read it in a new format. So, all that being said, I'm reading this book and it's great. It's a brilliant anthology series of horror stories, all kind of centering around the ice cream man, who's like a weird demon. You don't know what he is. At one point, he's a monster. At one point, he's a werewolf. At one point, he just is a regular dude. You never really know what's going on. You get some answers to that as the book progresses. There is a particular issue in this book, and it takes place in the Wild West. And I remember this when I read it the first time, but when I got to it this time, I was floored because it's written in almost a Cormac McCarthy type of way. The sentences feel like they could be pulled from a McCarthy novel. The landscape, everything. I'm like, dude, this is a weird coincidence. I just read Blood Meridian and I'm rereading this. And the first time I read Ice Cream Man, I had not read Blood Meridian, so I didn't make that connection. But this time I did. And I'm like, dude, this is like an homage to Blood Meridian, I swear. So, read the issue, loved it, phenomenal. I mean, not every story in here is 5 stars, but that one for me was just over the moon. It was great. Now, at the very end of the book here, he talks about each issue and some of the ideas behind them, the inspiration. Here's that issue, I believe, in particular. And he says he's making notes to the artist, and he's saying this is going to be my homage to Cormac McCarthy. And I'm like, oh my god, I knew it. I knew it. It's just so funny that he actually validates that at the end of the book and says specifically Cormac McCarthy. This one's got a giant spider in it. Yeah, I mean, it was just such a fun little treat to realize that out as I was reading the book. Highly recommend Ice Cream Man. There's some really dark stuff in here, of course, but it's really brilliantly written. I know there's a second hardcover, and it's on my list. Yeah, just waiting for it to go on sale, and I'll pick it up for sure because I bet it's just as good. This was a very good purchase. I'm glad I upgraded to the deluxe and reread it. I really appreciated it even more on a reread. That seems to be a thing. If you like a book and then you reread it, you're only going to like it more. I've yet to reread something and then not like it. I mean, I reread Harry Potter as an adult and I still liked it. I feel like if you like something, you reread it, you're still going to like it for the most part. Movies don't hold up in that same way. Not all books, I'm sure, but very selective with the things that I read. So, Ice Cream Man. All right, last little bit here before I break away. I made a video just seeing if anybody was interested in rereading something with me. You know, not the, I'm not a big channel. I've got like 500 subscribers, so that's nothing in the space of this YouTube thing. But I did actually have one comment, and it was Sherry Bug. She said, "Have you read Shogun? Because I want to reread Shogun." Unfortunately, I have not read Shogun. I wish I could say that I have read it and I reread it for you. I have not read it, but what I did do was go and read the prologue. It's only like 10 pages or something. And decided I got to read this book. It's just so intimidating. Look how big it is. Man, how many pages is this thing? Well over 1,000, right? Oh yeah, 1,300. 1,300 pages. It's actually 1,299 pages. So, man, I really, really want to read this though. A lot of people say this is one of the greatest novels of all time. I've owned this particular version of the book for, I think it came out in 2019. I've had it on my shelf for half a decade at this point. I got to read this thing. Man, 2019 was half a decade ago. That's crazy. All right. I've had Shogun for so long. I really want to read it. I know I've known about the story for a long time. White man lost in Japanese culture. I've known about that story for so long. Really interesting to me. I'm a white man who loves Japanese stuff. You know, I'm a 90s kid from the suburbs. I loved anime and martial arts and all things Japanese. I've actually got a samurai sword in my library. I mean, come on, if you don't have a samurai sword in your library, you're missing out. What makes this thing unique, though, is it's a reverse blade samurai sword. So the edge of the blade is at the top, and then the normal bladed part is flat. Reverse blade. If you guys know what the reverse blade sword is from, I'd be proud of you. Without looking it up, I'm sure most of you will not know what that's from. This was a gift that I cherish greatly, and my kids have always tried to come in here and steal it from me, but I don't let them. I got my oldest son his own samurai sword that's like it's not sharp at all, you know. Anyway, Shogun. All that to say, I'm definitely going to put Shogun near the top of the list. It's going to be a challenge. It's so long. I mean, it might take me more than a month to read it, but Shogun's on my radar. It's way up at the top of the list. So if you see this, Sherry, and you do want to reread Shogun, I am going to be reading it. I've got a couple of books for April that I'm finishing up. Of course, Game of Thrones. I've talked about that a couple times. Rereading Game of Thrones, and I'm almost done with that first book. That's been incredible. But once all that's done, Shogun will be up there on the list. I know it's one of the greatest books ever written, so gotta get to it. Anyway, thank you for the suggestion for Shogun because that's exactly the kind of thing I'm looking for. A spark to read something. I think every time you read a book, there's a story of why you read the book. And for me, that story will be your recommendation. So thank you. And yeah, see y'all on the next one.